So the work starts slowing down. I've been trying to stop drinking. Everywhere you go, it's like, Budgie, what do you want? Never won. All over the shop, and you're smashed, and you're talking crap. People are gonna look at you like.
We bring you an international star who has collaborated with Craig David, Britney Spears, Missy Elliott, P Diddy, Mary J. Blige, Looney Tunes, Timberland, and more. The one and only Juggy D.
But in the studio was Rob, Rishi, and as we know him now, Jay. All in the studio. He starts playing this record. Yeah, man, this is a vibe. His hook comes on. I just want to dance with you. And I'm standing there, and all of a sudden, I've heard it a few times, and I went, oh my, they all just stopped and went, what was that?
Juggy D, the inspiration, took Timberland shopping down Southall Broadway to ABC Music Store in his star years.
What's the difference between performing here in the UK and in India?
India is different. Bigger production, bigger show, bigger crowds, bigger.
How did the crowd react to you differently in terms of the UK crowd and the Indian crowd?
Over in India, their level of respect for me as an artist there is like heaven and earth.
Wow.
Here, people, they've got one or two songs. Sometimes they won't even come and say hello to you. So, I'm blessed. I'm happy. But money's not everything. I've blown a lot of money over the years.
Welcome back to Take a Seat. This is the #1 channel for mindset and motivation. I came from McDonald's to making it to millions, but I get it. Business might not be your thing, which is why I started this podcast. I bring on loads of celebrities, sports stars, music artists, because maybe their journey might resonate with you. And today's no different. We've brought a pioneering music artist on. He's been on our screens for over 2 decades. He started with Jay Sean and Rishi Rich and done many different remixes with Craig David. He's also been on the Bollywood scenes as well with Humtum. So please welcome Juggy D.
What's happening, man?
What's
How
happening,
you doing?
bro?
Sean, very well. Thank you for having me.
Looking very cool, bro.
Thank you. It's finally we get some good weather in the UK. So
Yes.
I thought I'd wear my 2-piece today. But yeah, it's good to be here, man. Thanks for asking me to come on and share my experience of life, and hopefully, like you said, hopefully it can resonate with some people and maybe give them some inspiration along their journey.
Definitely, because you definitely inspire me. I
Thank
remember back in 2004 when I'm driving down in my little KA, I'm blasting your tunes out,
Oh,
bro.
wicked, man. Thank you.
Even my Gora friends, bro, they
Wicked,
knew your song
wicked.
Sohniye. Like,
Oh.
Sohniye, ni Sohniye.
Do you know what? It's mad. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. This Sohniye has been 20 years now since that album came out.
Come on.
And exactly 2 decades we're celebrating this year. And I still remember going back, Channel U, MTV.
Yes.
They were supporting our music, man, and mainstream radio was playing our stuff. And I remember, Channel U, I don't know if you remember Channel U. It's going back, it's probably a little bit before your time, but Channel U, they used to have, you could text in, and the text would come at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
And I used to watch it, and I used to be looking at it, and sometimes you'd say, yeah, this Juggy guy, I don't know what he's saying, but I'm loving it, man. And, so you're right, it did resonate with non-Indians and Gore,
100.
white people and black people, and we got a lot of love from them, man, and still do.
Yeah, and I would definitely, resonate with all of that because one of my best friends was a Gora. White guy.
Yep.
And another one was like a European who lived on the road. And I used to have this little KA with a little hatchback.
Yeah.
The biggest subwoofer in there.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is it changed your whole song because it picked up on all of your beats.
Yeah.
And you know that subwoofer beat of Sohniye, everyone was just like, I need that song.
Oh,
even though
wicked.
they couldn't understand what you were saying,
Yeah.
that beat, the flow of it, it just changed it, brother.
Oh, wicked, man.
Who composed that beat?
That was produced by Mental, who is cousin, Rishi Rich's cousin, and a big producer in his own right. He was massive in Tanzania and Africa.
Okay.
Made some mad music out there. Still does some stuff now, but he heavily produced my first album, man. So yeah, big hats off to him. And I'm still getting booked. I'm still getting booked today off that same album. In the whole look, I started in 2002, and I've been in the music industry for 22 years now, and I've only done 2 studio albums. On my second album, I don't actually even perform any other songs off it.
Wow.
I only perform mainly off the first album, then the other singles that I've done, and the Bollywood tracks that I've done. Unfortunately, phone's still going.
Yeah.
So.
How does it work as a music artist in terms of producing your sort of music? Because a lot of stars, they'll have that one big hit, and then they're known for that one big hit. And when they come on a show, you're all waiting for that one big hit.
Yeah, yeah.
How do you keep like reinventing yourself and making sure, like not making sure, but how do you keep making the rest of your music just as relevant, or trying to find the next chart topper?
I don't know, man. I guess you know, like they say in our industries, you're only good as your last record. You know, so you've got to work hard on trying to, you know, just put out good music. Unfortunately, when we first started out, every record we put out was a vibe. You know, and people enjoyed it. So I can, you know, I've got a catalog of songs where I know, okay, these are the songs that I'm going to play in my set, you know, and they will take you down memory lane. You know, nostalgic songs, Dance With You, Sohniye, Billo, Hum Tum, Naijeena, you know, and the list goes on. Right. And then I will put in like cover tracks. I'll do covers as well. And that, like, here, I do like a 40-minute set, 45-minute set if I'm doing a wedding or something. But in India, I've got to do 90 minutes.
Wow.
So minimum showtime is 90-minute set. So that's a lot of material you have to have, you know, and that has got to be predominantly your own. Otherwise, they wouldn't book you, right? Because they want that artist, they want the international singer and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I guess I just got to be very real and say, you know, the people I've worked with have been great, you know, Rishi, Mentor, and everybody else along the way. We've put some really good music together, and it's still, you know, still sounding fresh now, man. So
100.
very blessed, very blessed.
I was listening to it all this morning, bro.
Oh, wicked, man, wicked.
How do you stay fit? Like in terms of 90-minute set, that's a workout, bro.
It is. So unfortunately for me, I hate cardio, right? In the gym. Like, I hate being on a treadmill. I love cycling. I can cycle for hours, right? You put me on a bike and I'll cycle for hours. But that's my cardio. So when I'd gone, like now, I had a gig Saturday, Sunday, and yesterday, right?
Wow.
So that's
3
45 minutes, singing, dancing. So it's like a HIIT workout. So I've done like over 2 hours of cardio. I don't need to do cardio in the gym now. You know, I can just make sure I focus on my food and go to the gym to just pump some iron, you know, keep the muscles tight. But I've been out of the gym for a bit. I've just been doing some other stuff. But generally, when I'm on point, it's like if I put my blinkers on and I go in, I'm very all or nothing, right? So when I'm on it hard. So I'm gearing up to get ripped and get the 6-pack back again, because I've had it before and I've been there and I've done it, and I've seen your picture as well. You've been there as well. So you know what it's like, right? So you can get there. And then sometimes you fall off a bit and you think, sugar, man, I need to get back out there. You know how to do it, but you just can't find the time all the time, or you can't get consistent enough because you've got other things going on. And I think that's the hardest part. For me, I've given up a lot of stuff over the last few years. You know, I used to drink, I don't drink anymore. I used to smoke, I don't smoke anymore. I used to eat meat, I'm now pescatarian.
Wow.
You know, so I've made a lot of changes. So I'm not too hard on myself either. Like, I'm not thinking, right, I haven't got my 6-pack yet. But what have you got? What have you achieved? Let's think about the things that we have got. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes now I'm kind of navigating into another part of this, you know, this journey, if you want to call it, or this podcast, where how do you go from, you know, being that party rock star person to getting to now being a sober rock star? You know, that's a journey in itself, you know, but that's all about your mindset, you know, and kind of training it in a way to benefit you.
Yeah. Do you think the entertainment industry has this like behind the scenes of like drugs, or this socializing of you have to have a drink at an after party, or like does it have that sort of stigma behind it as well? So do you have that peer pressure, shall I say, you know?
I don't know if it's I wouldn't call it peer pressure. I just think it just comes with the industry. You know, it's a social thing. You know, being in the music world, everyone seems to drink. being in, certain businesses. It's like, okay, let's go for lunch, right? And it's a liquid lunch, right? And that then will can transpire or spiral into whatever. You know what I mean? You might go for a lunch and then your afternoon's now gone off because you've had a few beers, you've connected with this person. And you're like, it doesn't matter. We can go to work tomorrow. We can come back to that tomorrow. Let's just carry on drinking. And I think that's everyone's and every individual's choice, right, that they make. But yes, it is out there. To answer the question in a nutshell, it's heavily out there and it's heavily available, readily available. But then it all depends on whether you want to partake or not.
So here's one. I used to work in banking, for example, and the people who normally got the promotions are the ones who were hanging out with the bosses. And it's a Friday night. Come on, we're all going down to the pub. I'd sometimes go, but I always had a weekend job, so I wanted to come away from it. So because I wasn't associating, all of a sudden, Monday morning, everybody be vibing. Do you remember what happened Friday? Oh, we had a brilliant time. Oh, hi, Sean. Like sort of thing. And it's just like, hey, I want to be part of that. I don't want to drink with you guys. So how do you sort of say no, but still sort of stay relevant, when you're in that sort of environment?
I think now it's because I've been in it for long enough. I've been in it for 2 decades. So I've been there, done it. Spent my 20s and 30s doing it, and now I've grown out of it. I've just had enough. And I said, nah, I'm done. I'm good. But don't get me wrong, it wasn't as easy as that. It was a struggle. I've been trying to stop drinking from 2013. That's 11 years, right? So it was always in my head that, I want to consciously make an effort to cut down or stop. And in 2013, I did on self-will, I stopped drinking completely and just knocked everything on the head. And then after that year, it was like, okay, I can do this. I'm not that bad. I've got control. So then I went back out, right? And it wasn't like a thing that I was doing forever. I wasn't going to give up forever at that point. But that's where the actual seed got planted that, okay, you know what a great year you had not drinking. That's a vibe. But then I got back in it and I was in the midst of it again. And then you kind of like, you just don't think about coming off or whatever, things change and you're back in the party scene and you're back on the vibe and traveling and everywhere you go, it's like, Budgie, what do you want? And, what can we get you? But now it's not like that, man. I made a conscious decision on October the 15th, 2021, that I will never drink again. And I admitted myself into AA. And that, for me, was my turning point because I'd done AA before for a year. And then I thought I'd cracked it. And I thought, yeah, I can do this again. I'm not that bad. I've got control.
And what is AA?
Alcoholics Anonymous. Okay. So
how does that work? A lot
of people, even myself, I didn't even know what it was until my friends recommended it to me. And they said, bro, you need to chill out, man. Like, you going hard, and it's not a good look.
So how was you performing?
I never drank before I went on stage.
Right.
So I had some discipline.
Yes.
So my thing was that before I go on stage, I don't have a drop. But after, we party. And it could be that we don't even, no, it wasn't that it could be. There was a rule that we don't party at the venue where we're performing. We might have one drink just to be nice, just
loosen
to
yourself
socialize,
up.
Loosen up a bit, have a beer with the promoter. Thank you, nice one. Have the beer and exit. And that gives you that a little bit more star quality, a bit more respect. They think, guy came in, he smashed it, he left. And that gives you that, you know what I mean? Like, okay, I want to book this guy. Because if you come there and then you're like, all over the shop and you're smashed and, you're talking crap, people are going to look at you like, okay, I'm not, you can leave a bad taste in people's minds. You know what I mean? And that can result in them not booking you again. And that's my bread and butter.
Yeah.
If I upset my promoter, he's going to tell 3 other promoters. So the work starts slowing down. You know what I mean? So you got to stay on top, at least in that way, that you make sure that you're doing things but you're still working and you're still working smart. You know what I mean? So that's what I did. I just never took a drop of alcohol before I went on stage, but I did. I partied hard, you know, to the point where it was like almost like, you know, burning the candle at both ends, which is not always a good look, you know. But it's not like that.
A situation I was faced with when I was competing, I stayed off alcohol for a certain
Competing
period in immense physique.
Oh
Yeah,
wow!
so I did a bodybuilding back in 2019.
Oh, brilliant!
But that was just a challenge because I was always fat boy,
right?
And it was always I was fat boy until I stupidly had to get on stage in front of 700 people to perform this routine that took me like 3 years to like bulk up and then shred and stuff. So I started sort of doing this bodybuilding, and obviously there's a lot of calories in drink. And so I used to, in our Sikh community, we go around people's houses and the first thing they're saying, "Botal kholi," you know, what you having? Vodka, whiskey, what kind of guy you are? And all of a sudden when I'm like, I don't drink, everyone's like, huh? What do you mean you don't drink?
Yeah.
Come on, Kush Bila, you know, have something to drink. And I'm like, nah, seriously, I'm good. And then they'll ask you 10 times. And you're just like, I feel like giving in now. Oh, go on, just one. What's one? But you know, if you...
It's never one.
If you bust the seal on one, and they've got the in as well, they go, now that's it, you've had one now, you might as well have more. There's a lot of family pressure as well.
Yes, there is,
and this sort of culture of you have to have a drink. If you don't drink, you're not fun. You're not part of us. Have I upset you? That's why you don't have a drink with me. You know.
That's when they've had a few. It gets to that stage then, doesn't it? Yeah. You don't like me, do you?
Yeah. What I'm saying is, how do you say no in a respectful way? How do we move away from that?
You know what? No, I mean, again, I think it comes down to age and stuff like that, and you know what you've been through and stuff. And because, like I said, I mean, I have drank with all my friends, all family, and you know, I've been the heart and soul of the party. And it comes a stage where when you say no, they have to respect that, and they respect it because they've had a drink with you before, and they've probably heard and seen what you've been through. You know, I've had as so many of you that are watching have probably had as well, many ups and downs in your life, right? We all go through them. And when people see that and then you tell them, no, I don't drink, they respect that, you know? And I think that's the stage I'm at right now. You might not be at that same stage. Somebody might, you know, be still pressurizing you to have a drink. But I mean, I guess you then just got to kind of disassociate with with them people for a while, just so that they can, you know, they realize that, you know what, you don't put yourself in those circles anymore because you're doing other things, and then they have a different level of respect for you. They won't even ask you. They won't, forget pressurizing you, they won't even ask you to have a drink because they know that, nah, you know, this guy, he's disciplined, man. And sometimes they want you to drink because they want to drink, you know, and they just want someone to drink with.
They want company.
They want company, you know. So yeah, man. I mean, you know, each to their own, man. Each to their own. I don't preach to anybody, even though I'm nearly 3 years sober. I don't say to anyone, "Oh, you shouldn't drink," and "Oh, you should be like me." I never do that, man, because you know everyone's on their own journey. You know what I mean? And if they're okay with drinking, then that's cool. You know, that's cool with me. But for me, I know if I go to places, they'll say, "Oh, what would you like to drink? Can I get you a mocktail? Can I get you a cocktail, a beer?" And I was like, "Nah, I'm allergic to that stuff." You know, I make fun of it now. You know, because I'm comfortable with that. You know, and people that I sit with and my mates, my best mates, they all still drink.
Yeah, and
we'll go out for a meal and we'll sit down and they'll order beer and I'll have a Diet Coke. You know, and we're cool. We still have a laugh. We still have fun. We still chat the same chat. You know, we still talk about the same things. There's no difference. And that's the real ones. Those are the ones you want to sit with that respect you for who you are and not for what you're putting down your mouth. You know what I mean?
Have you had to leave people behind?
No, I just had to change my surroundings. I didn't have to leave. I guess, you know what, I suppose I did. Certain people, you know, that were doing things that I no longer wanted to partake in, you know, and I was like, you know what, okay, I just can't be around those people. Or if I was with them, I'd be with them early on in the evening. But then when I can see that, okay, right now, it's got to a point where now things are going to go to escalate to a different stage, I know when to exit because I was part of that before, you know, so I can see it all happening and unfolding around me. And now I just, you know, vacate and I just leave. And that is just, you just got to be more aware of your own surroundings. Don't worry about what's going on, and they're not going to miss it. If you actually exit, and after about 5 minutes they'll be like, "Where's he gone?" And that's it, because they're going to be too busy in what they're doing anyway.
Yes,
so
it's true.
you've got yourself out of that situation, where you were feeling a little bit vulnerable, and you might think, okay, for me now, I call it a relapse. If I pick up a drink, I've relapsed. I can't relapse. You know what I mean? So I've got the AA app on my phone. I'm still counting days.
Right.
I'll open it up for you now. And right now, today, I'm on 1,033 days sober.
Wow.
So I don't know if you guys can see that, but and yeah, and I'm proud of that,
Yeah.
and I'm helping other people now that are struggling with alcohol, with substances, with smoking. I've opened a luxury rehab center in Delhi, in India, which is to help people, with a battle against drink and drugs.
How do people find out about that?
It's on my website, Hope. We've got a website called Hope Rehabs.
Okay.
.co.uk, and we're based out in India. Me and my partner, we run that, and he's also on a sobriety journey. His sobriety journey is inspired by my journey, and together we've opened this rehab center. So yeah, it's a luxury rehab center, because rehab here in the UK is they have a lot of big waiting lists here as well. It's not cheap, but it's a great place to start for a lot of people going in recovery. A lot of people do use recovery centers because sometimes they need to step away from their situation. They find it very difficult to try and give up on their doorstep, and they need to detach themselves, and they check themselves into a rehab center. Ours is one step further. You need to relocate. You need to get away from everything and everyone, even your family, your immediate family, your wife, your kids, because you're now in that much of a deep situation, So we've got that facility there. So yeah, if you know anyone, then please do mention it to them. Go check it out. But we also want to open one in Punjab, because Punjab is a big problem. But that one we're trying to open as a self-funded one. So because we know that there's a lot of issues with drink and drugs in India, in Punjab, that not everybody can afford to go to a luxury rehab center. And we want to try and just get people in there, which is self-funded. And we're working on that to get other funding as well from other avenues and government and stuff like that. That's something that is in the pipeline, but that will be completely free for the actual client. We'll be able to get them in there, try and give them a detox for a month, give them another month clean and sober, and 8 weeks under their belt, and then put them back into their, into their comfort zone with their family, where it's now a better place to be, and they can kind of try and provide for them rather than taking away from them. So
if somebody's at a place right now, maybe they're not ready for AA, and they think, I don't really actually have much of a problem. Maybe I do have a couple too many.
Yeah.
What are just three tips off the top of your head that you would give a little bit of advice and go, make sure you're mindful, or do these three things?
Do you know what it is? I don't even think it goes as far as three. I can tell you that in one. The only thing that anybody needs to recognize if they have a problem is just to admit it to themselves. And if you admit that you have a problem, that's the first step to you needing to do something about it. Because until you don't admit you've got a problem, how can you make any changes to it, right?
People are afraid.
But then that is that part.
Yeah.
That getting over the fear to admit it.
People are afraid of failure. They're afraid of being a failure.
Yeah.
They're embarrassed.
Yeah. Again, what I would say is that admitting that you have a problem is not a weakness, it's a strength. So all of those other things are part of you then still coming to that pinnacle point of going, yes, I have a problem, and admitting it. Because the moment you admit something, that's when you can make a change to it, right? And until you don't admit, if you think, I'm all right, I only have a few, I'm okay, it's cool. But then, you know what? When you stand and look in the mirror and you look at that guy and you go, you know what, man, I need to do something about this. I've actually got a problem. That's the point where you can go, well, now I can do something about it because I've just admitted it to myself. And, all of those things that you said, those are natural. Those are natural things to occur with anyone. I've just been on the phone. On the way here, I was on the phone to somebody who had all of those things going on. Bro, I'm scared. I know I've got a problem. I know I need help.
Mm-hmm.
I saw your podcast. I did a podcast not so long ago, right? Last year we did it. It just came out recently.
Okay.
And a lot of people have been watching that.
Mm.
And they're saying, bro, that resonated with me so much. Like the things that you said ticked every box of mine. And I just wanted to reach out to you. And I said, yeah. He said, but, and in the end, he was like, thank you so much. I owe you one. I said, nah, man, you don't owe me nothing. I said, he goes, no, but your time. I said, nah. I said, you know what you've just done there has made me stronger. By me talking to you has given me another day of sobriety, because now that conversation has given me strength, because not sounding in a bad way, but I don't want to be back in that place where that guy is. That guy is broken. He's at rock bottom, I was there one day. And when you're at rock bottom, man, that's when you know that you need to do something about it. So fear, anxiety, all of that, pride, that will all come in front of it, but it all gets taken away when you go, I've got a problem, I need to do something about it. That is the first step of recovery.
How do you deal with failure?
You know what? It's all part of life, man. It's about how you come back from it. Everybody has to fail to come back stronger. That's how I see it. Failure is not a bad thing. Failure makes you the person you are. I am who I am today because of all the things that I failed at. All my ups and downs that I had has made me the guy that I am. And I believe that I'm probably not. And you can never say, I think it'll be too overconfident to say I'm 100% perfect. No one's perfect. Nobody can ever be perfect. But I'm the best version of myself today. I can confidently say that, I am really working hard on becoming a better person every day. I can always do something a little bit better than I did yesterday. Do you know what I mean? And failure is all part of that, man. It's all part of it. We have to fail. It's part of it. My kids, I got 3 kids, and I say to them, listen, don't worry about it. I said, if you can't do something, don't say, like, they'll watch something, right? And they'll say, oh, I wish I could do that. And I'll stop them and I say, no, don't say, I wish I could do that. Say, how can I do that? There's a difference. It's about training your mind, you know what I'm saying?
100.
And failure isn't failure, man. Failure is part of the process of getting better. That's what it is.
Absolutely. How is your faith? What do you believe in?
I'm spiritual.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I'm very spiritual, connected. As you can see, I'm Sikh, but I'm not a baptized Sikh, right? So I'm not religious. I don't wear a bug. I don't have gish. I don't have a kirpan. So that is a baptized Sikh, right? But I pray. I have a higher power. My Vaheguru is my higher power.
Yeah.
I do my part. I do a gratitude list. And that is me spiritually connecting to my higher power. For me, my higher power is Vaheguru, is God, right? But for some people, their higher power could be anything. It could be a passed away grandparent. That could be their higher power. That could be their guardian angel. That it could be anything. Do you know what I mean?
Have you done any pilgrimages?
Yes, I have done pilgrimage. I went to Himkond Sahib in 2000.
Okay, educate me because I don't know about this place.
Okay, so Himkond Sahib is it's a Sikh temple, which is in I believe it's in, I think if I'm remember correctly, it's in Uttar Pradesh, right? And it's 18,000 feet above sea level. It's in the mountains, and it's a 3-day pilgrimage. It takes 3 days to get there, and this is where Guru Gobind Singh Ji did his tapasya. And it's a very, very sacred and holy place. They have 5 Nishan Sahib on the mountain tops. You're very lucky if you can see them all on the same day.
The Nishan Sahib is our holy flag.
Yeah, and Nishan Sahib is a flag which you'll see at every Sikh temple, which is in orange, in the color of orange. And so they have 5 of those around there. There's a temple there, and it's always covered in snow. The paths have to be cleared. There's certain times a year where you can't even actually get up there. But it's all done from seva. There's no it's all just community seva. And
what does seva mean?
Seva is charity. Selfless charity, basically, where you give without any reward. It was a beautiful experience. I went with my parents, and I actually came back from that pilgrimage, and I said to my mum at that time, I said, "Mum, main Amrit Chakna." And Amrit Chakna means that I want to become a baptized Sikh. And she was like, it's just giving me goosebumps now that I just said that, because I'm spiritually connected, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel this connection with God. There is something within me, and even like being able to give up alcohol and substances and stuff like that. I believe that's not just me. That's God giving me the power to do it. Because not everybody makes it back into recovery. Not
Mm-hmm.
everybody gets the chance to come off stuff because it's too late.
Do you believe in like spirits, like good, evil?
Yeah, yeah. I believe there's a angel. I believe there's a devil. I believe there's good spirits. There's bad spirits. I believe all of that stuff, man.
Any experiences yourself?
So my pilgrimage, when I went on my pilgrimage, I felt such a huge connection. That's like I said, I felt like taking Amrit, and I had a voice in my head, and I was speaking. It was like I was, well, it wasn't even like I was speaking to Guru Gobind Singh Ji. He was
Really?
talking to me in my head, telling me what to do. And I used to have asthma. I still have got it, but at that time, it went away for a while. I threw my inhaler away and everything, like because he told me to. And it's weird. Like if like, I speak to some people and they'll go, "That's crazy, bro. What are you talking about?"
Mm-hmm.
Nah. I'm like, well, that's my experience. You know, it happened, and there was other things that happened while I was there, and I saw pictures and I saw stuff coming up in pictures, and it was unreal, man. It was
Mm-hmm.
unreal. But if you have a belief and you believe strongly in something, I guess that's the only way when your uh, certain chakras open and certain parts of your brain open up to it.
Mm-hmm.
If you keep those things shut down anyway, you're not going to believe and you're not going to see anything. You're not going to let anything in.
Mm-hmm.
You have to kind of be in that kind of vibe, in that kind of space to allow these things to come into your life.
Do you meditate?
I do, yeah, I do in the mornings. Not for long, maybe like a minute or so. But I've always found that quite hard to kind of sit. Well, so from 3 years ago, when I used to party, I used to find it very hard to sit in my own space. Right, I couldn't sit still. Like I'd go away for a gig, and I'd be at a hotel, and I'd find somewhere to go after the gig, even if it's 1 o'clock in the morning, because I just can't sit still. Now it's not like that. Now I'm content in my own company, and I'm content in my own space. So I can sit back and just chill and be in a room with myself, order some room service, watch a bit of telly, and go to sleep. I'm okay with that now. But I never used to be.
You do seem like you're 100 miles per hour sometimes. You're not like
Yeah.
ADHD or anything like that. Like
I don't know.
I mean, it's like that's an ability.
Yeah,
An
yeah.
ability where the school system says, that's a disability, you have this issue, that problem. But some of the most smartest people are on the spectrum, but very high functioning.
Yeah, yeah.
You're very fast.
Do you know what it is? I think it's because of the industry that I'm in as well, because I'm always on my toes. Like now, I've just done 3 gigs. I was in Saturday, I flew to Glasgow. Then we drove to Edinburgh. We did a gig. Sunday morning, flew to Denmark. Went there, did a gig. Yesterday afternoon, flew back to London. Did a gig last night in Heathrow. And then today, got up, showered, got things done. And then I'm here.
Yeah.
Right? So my life is 100 miles an hour.
Wow.
So sometimes I have to slow myself down.
How do you balance your personal life at home with wife and kids with your job, which is very highly demanded, traveling, obviously days away?
Yeah.
How do you balance work-life balance?
It's now become, it's become quite easy to balance now, because now I'm sober as well. I don't spend any longer than I need to wherever I go. I'm in and out, back, and when I'm here 100%. Like I'm involved, I'm present, and I'm there with my kids to do things that people in a 9 to 5 can't do. So that's the balance, because they know when, okay, daddy's going now, but he's going for work. I'm not going on a jolly for 3 days. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm going to make sure that everything's looked after. But when I'm back, guess what? I got a 3-day window where I'm switching off and I'm just with my kids. And I can drop them off to school. I can pick them up. I can take them to their outside school activities. I can spend time with my wife. I can do all of that. And then 2 days I might have to go again, but it's cool because that's the nature of my business.
Absolutely.
So we're used to that.
Yes.
But when it was fueled with alcohol before, those 2 days I'd come back and I'd be I wouldn't be present because I'm recovering from the 3 days I've been away, and then I'm going again, and then that's where there's a problem. And that's where obviously I had to kind of make changes. And, you know, fortunately, we've made those now. So
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing that part of your journey. I'm not going to go right to the beginning right now, because we will go there.
Cool.
But right now, I want to go to sort of, I wouldn't even call it the middle, but I would just call it the sort of stardom years.
Okay.
I want to talk about them sort of things. So I want to talk about some of your singles, you know, let's tell the people at home what you're about, what you're made of, bro. So in 2002, you made something with Rishi Ridge.
Yep.
Is it Naijeena?
Yeah. So that was my step into the industry, man. That was the turning point. You know, that was me being given an opportunity by a music producer, a renowned music producer who I'd never heard of at the time, because he did 10 albums before I met him, but they were Bollywood albums, right? Bollywood remix albums with some of the biggest names in Bollywood, right? But I had no idea, because I was never into Bollywood. I was a proper Desi Bendu, born here, but loved my roots, Desi roots music from Punjab.
Yeah.
And that's what I listened to. Kuldeep Manak and Surinder Shindar and people like that. I don't know if you know of them,
Come on.
they're old school, right?
Yes,
okay.
yes.
But not everyone does,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
nowadays, like the youngsters now, they're all these Gen Zs. You play a Kuldeep Manak song, they can't even understand what you're talking about.
Unless it's
right?
remixed and upbeated.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So, you know, Naijeena was, I'd been singing probably about 12, 13 years performing before I met Rishi. And I was like 23 at the time I met him, got introduced through a mutual friend, went in the studio, got a meeting with him, and he asked me to sing my favorite song at that time. And even now, it was Put Sardarande by Bulwinder Safari. And I sang maybe got to about 40 seconds in the vocal booth. And he was like, all right, cool, that's enough, come. And I was like, oh, damn, you didn't like it, you know? And he called me out and he was like, okay. He goes, so, you know what? He goes, I like your vibe, man. He goes, I didn't expect that. I said, what do you mean? He said, like you sang this like really Desi song.
What did you sing?
But Sardana
Can you give us a little?
it's he goes, ਬਹੁਤੇ ਦੁਖੀਓ ਚੱਲਦੇ ਕੌਮ ਬਦਲੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਕੌਮਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਦਲੇਰ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਕੌਣ ਪੁੱਛਦਾ ਕਾਵਾਂ ਤੇ ਗਿੱਦੜਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੇ ਕੈਦ ਪਿੰਜਰੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸ਼ੇਰ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਰਸਤੇ ਖੁੱਲੇ ਕਰ ਦੂੰ ਸਾਰੀ ਗਲੀ ਬਾਜ਼ਾਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਸ਼ੇਰਾਂ ਵਾਂਗੂ ਘੁੰਮਦੇ ਫਿਰਦੇ ਪੁੱਤ ਸਰਦਾਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਸ਼ੇਰਾਂ ਵਾਂਗੂ ਘੁੰਮਦੇ ਫਿਰਦੇ ਪੁੱਤ ਸਰਦਾਰਾਂ ਦੇ
Come on.
Thank you. So,
Wicked,
yeah, that was my
G.
favorite song, man. Thank you.
Some
My
of that
voice is a
king
bit-
energy, bro.
My voice is a bit mash up at the moment. I've done 3 shows back to back, but that was my favorite song. But I sang that for him and I was like, oh no, he didn't like it. And he was like, no, I like your style. I like your vibe. He goes, but I don't want you to do that vibe. I was like, okay, what do you mean? And I said, but this is what I do. I'm like, I sing like Desi stuff, right? And he's like, nah. He goes, I want you to sing on my album. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. He said, got an album coming out and I want you to do a song for that for me. And if you're up for it. And I was like, yeah, man, I'd love to. He goes, but I want you to do pop Punjabi music.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
What was your understanding of that?
I actually asked him, I said, well, what do you mean? He said, like, you know, like very like kind of Taz kind of vibe, kind of, you know, very pop kind of music. And I was like, oh, okay. I said, I've never done that kind of stuff. And he's like, but I think you can. I was like, he goes, you've got the look. Like, you know, I was young Southall boy. And, you know, I think I went to see him in my tracksuit. And he was like, yeah. He goes, I like that vibe. And I think you'll be good at pop music rather than that Desi stuff. He goes, and to be fair, if you do Desi stuff, at that time, Desi music was quite big. And he said, everyone's doing Desi stuff, right? All the old singers are like quite big right now. They're big with their whole Desi vibe. He goes, and to get recognized, you got to go against the grain, right? Come with something different, something fresh. And I was like, okay. I said, all right, look, man, look, it's for your album. You know what you're doing. Right, I'm confident. I'm just very grateful that you've asked me to sing on your album. So let's do it. And he's like, all right, cool. He goes, when can you come back? And I think I went to see him on a Sunday. And I said, you tell me. He goes, okay. He goes, come back in on Wednesday. He goes, I'm going to call a writer. He goes, can you write? And I went, nah, I've never written a song in my life. And he went, okay. He goes, come in on Wednesday. I'll call a writer down and we'll do a studio session. I was like, okay, cool. So went back in on the Wednesday and he called this guy. His name's Daljit from East London. And he went by the name of Iceman Dolly, right? And so he wrote songs. He came in and that day, funny enough, he had writer's block, right? So he couldn't come up with anything. He couldn't think of anything. And Rishi had made this beat. He'd played some stuff on the keys and he'd made a little guide beat. And he's like, I'm feeling this, kind of write something to this, right? And the guy's walking around, pacing up and down the room. And I'm sitting there and I'm just kind of humming along to this. And I've come up with this little hook. And he's like, okay, yeah, that's nice. And Rishi was like, I thought you said you didn't write.
Yeah.
I said, I don't, but I can vibe though.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. He goes, well, that's how you do it. And I was like, okay. So it was a very, very relaxed environment, very chilled. And that's how we started writing that track. And then he was like, look, okay. Daljit was like, you know what? Let me go away and come back tomorrow. I don't want to, I can't do this right now.
Yeah.
He's like, nah. He said, listen, my album's done. I'm putting this as the last song on there. I can't have you go away and come back. You need to do this for me now. He goes, go out of the room, Jugs, go with him. Go spend half an hour outside, get some fresh air and come back. He goes, we got to do this today. So we went outside and me and him started vibing. We started vibing and we started bouncing ideas off each other. And I co-wrote that song. I co-wrote Naijeena, my first single. And then we started putting it down, started vocaling it. The next day, I think I vocaled it because we wrote it that day. And Rishi was like, okay, so when can you record this, Jugs? And I was like, I was thinking like next week. In my head, I'm thinking like next week or so. And he's like, I said, I don't know. I said, let me learn it. He goes, all right, when can you do it? Tomorrow, day after? And I'm like, oh shit, this guy's quick, man. So this is the Wednesday we've written it. And he's like, Friday, come Friday. And I'm like, okay. So I couldn't say no, obviously. At any point, I could not say no to this guy because he's giving me an opportunity, right?
Yeah.
If I say no, I might just blow it.
Yeah.
So I had to go with it. I said, yeah, okay, I'll be back on Friday. So I went away, learned the song. I'm reciting it, made it mine. Went back in on the Friday, went and vocaled it. And then did the vocals for that. And then he's like, okay, brilliant, man. He goes, I got what I need. He goes, thank you, man. He goes, that was wicked. I'll be in touch as soon as it's ready. And then I think he took another couple of days. On the weekend, he got a guy called Don D on there. And on the Monday, he rang me and he was like, Jugs, your song's ready. He goes, you want to come and have a listen? I'm like, wow, bro. That's mad. Like, I only met you on Sunday.
Yeah.
For the first time ever.
Wow.
And a week later, we've got a song. And he's like, yeah, he goes, it's going on the album. He goes, come down and have a listen.
You think that's what made Rishi special?
Yeah, man. He's quick, bro. He's very, very good at working with and developing artists. And that's what he did with me. He developed me. He gave me the opportunity. He helped me start my career. He gave me the opportunity that I was looking for, that I needed in this career. And, sometimes I guess if I never met him, I don't know where I would be. I might be in a restaurant because I love. Somebody asked me that once before. If you weren't a singer, what would you be? I said I'd be a chef. I'd have a restaurant because I used to have a kebab shop when I was 18. When I left uni, I had a kebab shop, and that's what I was going to do. So it wasn't a shop. It was a food market store.
Right.
I was in a market in Stevenage, and that's another. I would talk about that another time. But
I have two questions for you here.
Go on.
First of all, what goes into composing or writing a song? Like you said, you'd never done it before until you started vibing with somebody. How do you know what a verse looks like? How it rhymes? How it would go, start, finish? Like, where do you start?
I had no idea, to be honest. He helped me do that. That first song is when I learned how to structure a song. Your style, your antra, you're basically like your chorus, your pre-chorus, your verse, and all of that structure. And nowadays you can just play around. You can just do, you can You can you start with a chorus, or you can start with a verse. You can do whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
It's all down to you.
Yeah.
It's how you want to put your song out. Everyone's chopping and chaining and doing whatever they want now. So there's no real kind of concrete structure to a song, but there is a general kind of way of doing it, and that was taught to me on that day. And then after that, I just started writing songs myself. I wrote Sohniye, I wrote Billo, and then all the covers, all the remixes, all the features with Craig David, Missy Elliott, Britney, this, that, all of that stuff. I wrote all those myself.
Do you need permission from them artists to use the songs?
No, those were done with them.
With them?
Yeah.
Wow.
They were done with them. They asked us to remix the track. Yeah, wow. So we were.
Would you conversate with any of these?
So Rishi, our management was. Yeah, so we had management 2.9, 2.0.
2.0
from back in the day. That tag, yeah, that was our management at the time. And obviously, the management's role and A&R's role is to communicate with other labels and other artists, and they had a really good rapport with other distributors and labels and artists and stuff like that. So we were able to connect with a lot of these people and get on a lot of the records, and they were official remixes. They weren't just remixes, bootlegs and stuff like that. They were official. Like, there was someone from their team that was like, right, we've got this record we want, and it was sent out to like 10 different producers. And then the best ones would get picked and get put on. And everyone that we got offered, everyone that got pitched, we got on.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
One with Craig David, they were mad. The one with Craig David, them ones, they were just...
Craig David's a legend, man. He's still going right now strong as well with his whole TS5 brand.
He's reinvented himself.
Yeah, he has.
And it's so important, like, in terms of, like, how do you reinvent yourself?
I think reinventing yourself is just, styling, the things you do, the way you look, the type of music you're putting out, maybe making some small changes.
How do you keep up with trends? Like the beats have changed from 20 years ago to 10 years ago to now. Like,
yeah. So that, I think, doesn't need to change so much because people come to you for a certain sound, right? Now, for example, if I started changing what I do to make it sound like what somebody new and that is working right now is doing, that might not work for me. So don't jump on the bandwagon and don't jump on someone else's trend, because if it's working for him, it's not necessarily going to work for you. What's worked for me is the pop stuff that I've been doing for the last 20 years,
So where does that line come of coachability, still being able to be coached and divert a little bit, where you see certain artists will be in the 1990s to the noughties to now, there's a few artists out there, that they do change it to what's relevant, just to stay relevant themselves. Where's that line? Where is it you want to be?
No, don't get me wrong. We still do that, but you can't change it so much that you take away from what you started off as.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? You can't go so far away from the style that you had that people, just to please other people. You got to be true to yourself. You got to be real. You know what I mean? You got to be like, but listen, this is me. This is my sound. Yes, I'll give you an example. Like, there's a song that we just did called Vang, right? It came out probably about 8 weeks ago.
Okay.
Now, the music production on that is very current. I didn't like it initially when I heard it.
Yeah.
Right? But everybody else said to me, Jugs, what are you talking about? That is the production you want to go with. And I was going with something a bit more pop, a bit more Punjabi.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, nah, man. Nah, I'm not really feeling it. But then it grew on me. And I was like, and it was literally that. And I said, but are people gonna think that I'm trying to be like these new kids? Because that's what was in my head. And I was like, I don't want to do that, man, because they're gonna think, oh, he's trying to be like them now.
Okay.
And they were like, no, it's not. No one's gonna say that. It's just something fresh. It's because it's so fresh for you. You think it's too much of a big change, but it's not. You're still giving your vibe as you would, but the producer has done something which is making it fresh for today's sound, and it worked. It worked well. People really liked it, and it increased my numbers by quite a considerable amount, and it was good. It was good. So, it is good to change. It's good to keep it real, but it's good to have those changes. But those are the people that you work with. They can bring that, you know? So you go to a certain producer for a certain sound, you bring your style and you bring their style and you match it up. And that's a good, like, you know, compromise. So you don't change yourself too much. That's the line, I guess.
I hear you. How does this is a sensitive topic, but how does the money side of things work? So Rishi Rich is now giving you an opportunity on this track. He's asking you to come in and sing, help write.
Yeah.
How's the money side? What does this mean in terms of money? Because a lot of people go, well, if this blows up, you're going to be profiting off me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's a line of, hey, this is an opportunity here. I get to be known. Like this, I could springboard off this. Like,
of course.
What was your thought process in that aspect?
At the time, it was, you know, there was not even money wasn't even an issue. You know, it was like, okay, look, I'm just trying to get my foot in the door. You know, I know the money will come. When the money comes, it'll be fine. And I used to say that to my parents because in the beginning, there was no money involved. You know, we were just working. We were working to get ourselves out there and we were up and down. We were doing shows and we were getting paid peanuts, you know, but we had a bigger, there was a bigger picture. There was a bigger agenda. There was like, okay, we are out there to make a real mark and make something happen here. You know what I mean? And our management had that same vision. We did see money, but it wasn't a huge amount. But I guess, you know, I mean, sometimes we look back at it now and we think, well, you know, we probably should have made a lot more. We were a bit naive. We didn't know how it worked back then, you know, and, but then, you know, record labels are there to make money, right? So, but in the process, did they do a good job? Yes, they did, because they made us superstars, you know. At that time, we were at the top of our game. We were on mainstream TV. We were on Top of the Pops. We were here, there. Like, it was unheard of.
So when you see that and you see somebody on the TV, you know, and you're like, that person's made it. You know, he's singing here. He's on Top of the Pops, for example. This guy must be a multi-millionaire. Is that the reality?
No. And if that's your first record, you're not a multi-millionaire off the first record. You know, that's the beginning of the process. You get me? So, but yeah, it's weird that people assume that straight away. The moment they see you on the TV, they think because he's on TV, he's a millionaire. It's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. It's not what it is, man. There's a lot of people on television that, you know, they're doing well. But it doesn't happen overnight. It happens, okay, that's your foot in the door. You're on screen, on that big screen. But you got to work hard. You got to work hard for many years before you get those millions. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's a long process, man. It doesn't happen overnight.
Some people in the limelight industry do the opposite and think they're worth more. And so they start saying, nah, I'm not going to turn up to that. I'm not coming to that unless you pay me this. And very quickly they get managed out. You know, people go, you think you're bigger than the industry. Have you ever experienced people like that around you?
I've seen it. I've seen it a lot. I've seen it a lot. I don't want to mention any names, but I have seen that happen. And I've seen a lot of people's careers come crashing down, you know, because they get too much of an ego. They get too much of a chip on their shoulder because, you know, they've had a couple of big hits. They got paid some serious money, you know, but they slowly, because of their attitude and their ego, start fizzling out because people no longer want to work with you because they're like, well, you're not a great guy to work with, you know. I don't enjoy working with you. So why would I want to put myself in that again? You know, I had a bad experience.
How important is that? Like in terms
Very important, man.
Is it just as important as the talent?
100%. You know, bro. Look, listen. I'll be very, very real with you, right? And we were having this conversation the other day. I don't put myself out there. I'm not a singer, right? I sing, but I'm not a trained singer. If you put me on a vajja next to a singer with a vajja, he will annihilate me, okay? Because I have not been taught like that. I sing from my heart. I know how to write songs, and I did something right. I connect with people. When I sing, like, you know, when I sang that, people will be going, oh my God, he didn't even hit the note right. They'll be analyzing it. But I connected with you. You vibed off that, right? That's what I bring. I bring a vibe. I bring connection, right? And I bring that energy. And that's what I'm getting still booked today. 22 years later, people are still picking up the phone because when I step on stage, I bring that whole room in and I take control and I'm there to do a job. I'm there to make them happy, entertain them, lift their spirits, regardless of where I'm at, right? And this is very difficult because I could be going through some serious trauma in my own personal life. But when I step on that stage, I've got to forget about all of that. And I've got to put on this, yo, what's happening?
Yeah.
Right. Oh, my tateri naal nachna. Bro, it's hard work.
Come on, bro.
Hard work.
And do you know what I really remember you for as well? Your crazy dance moves.
Yeah, they're
You
still
just
there.
throw yourself in the middle and just that half cartwheel sort of like
Yeah,
with
yeah.
your legs, and it's just
Yeah.
like a vibe.
To this day, I was filming people last night.
Yeah.
These guys were on the stage doing my dance move. Like, and it's so nice to see, man, that all these years later, and I say it every time I go to every event, I say, thank you for having me. You know, thank you for calling me here today. Because I'm very fortunate that I'm still in the midst of it, you know? And in and amongst all the young, new, hip artists that are the current vibe and the current trend, I'm still in and amongst it all. I'm still on those same flyers. You know, I could have been taken out a long time ago and replaced by someone else. But, you know, without sounding cocky, it's hard to replace Juggy D. You know, I believe in myself. And that's something that I'm proud of, you know, because I worked hard. And that's not coming with ego, that's coming with just confidence of that I've worked hard, man. And I've worked hard to better myself all the time.
100. You mentioned something a little bit earlier about you had to tell your parents that I'm not getting paid right now, but it's coming, you know, and sometimes, especially our Asian parents can be the most, you know, army generals there. What are you doing? Well, what's your time? What you think this is gonna? You're putting yourself out there. You know, nazar, all of that. You know, people are gonna be, you know, looking down at you. You're a loafer. You're not doing nothing. You think you're gonna be this, you're that, until it happens. But you know, then they support you and stuff. But what do you say when you're giving advice to the next generation when you have people like your parents who created you are thinking with their own thoughts and their own beliefs? They're going through their system, not what they think you're actually capable of.
You've just got to, I guess, you know, I can only go from my experience. You've just got to reassure them that it's going to be okay, you know, and you've got confidence in yourself. Because what I used with my parents was that, look, Dad, all I'm doing is putting time into this. I'm not putting money into it. Right. It's not a business that I have to invest so much money and then, oh my God, I'm down this much money. How am I going to make it back? And what if it's not a success? We're going to be down, right? Still down. All I'm doing is investing my time and my effort. So I'm in a good business. I'm in a good position to start with because I've not had to financially invest in this. I've just have to put my time into it. So they were like, okay, Jal Tika, you know, I'd get by. I'd buy a bit more time off them. I'd buy a bit more time and just saying, don't worry, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. You know, all this, that money that you were not seeing just yet, there's going to come a time where it's going to cover that year or two threefold, you know, or whatever it is. So they were okay with it.
It's a bit strange, like the different cultures, you know, like, you know, you have different cultures, like English people say, go on, go for it, we'll support you. And then we'll have like, we're just trying to fight for that. Can I have one more day, please? Like, you know, it's just a bit like, you know, do you think things have changed?
I think so, yeah, big time, man. Because look, they can see it. Our parents can all see that, you know, footballers make millions. You know, property, there's so much money to be made. That's, you know, bricks and mortar. You can never go wrong, right? There's always going to be a demand for that. Sports that people, you know, didn't get paid highly for now are getting some crazy, insane money. And artists are getting paid some big bucks. Like, look at, you know, look, in today's, we finally got to those big stages, you know, arenas, selling out arenas. We've got artists now that are doing that, you know, and that's so good to see. You know, we had a taste of that, you know, but it was still on a smaller scale, you know, where we were still part of a group of people that were doing it. You know, we opened for Missy Elliott in Birmingham. We opened for Busta Rhymes, you know, and those were big sellout arenas, you know, but we were like support acts. But now we've got our Punjabi artists that are headlining, only them on that show. There's no support acts, and people are coming out to see them in the thousands. That's mad, and that's where our parents now have gone, okay. Yeah, you don't have to just be a dentist or a doctor, you know?
It's true.
You can do something else and make money. And what my parents always said was, "But jeda tu kam karna," and I'll say this in English as well for the people that don't understand Punjabi. But in Punjabi, I will say it first because I just feel it holds a lot more kind of, it comes across better, right? Jeda kam karna tu dat ke karna. right? Make sure you give it your heart and soul. So whatever work you're going to do it with 110% of your effort. Because if you're not going to give it 110%, don't waste your time. You know, because you could put that energy somewhere else. And sometimes I laugh when I say, when I now talk about my drinking days, I say, yeah, I blame my dad for that. He said, whatever you do, son, do it to the best of your ability. And I said, I drank to the best of my ability. I said, so that's his fault, man. That was a bit of a nutter on it. But now it's not like that, you know what I mean? And he's proud of me now as well. My parents are very proud. I can openly talk to him about, you know, not doing the things that I used to do. And they're cool with it, man, because they say, look, everybody goes through stuff. Everyone's got their own journey,
of course,
you know, and we're just so proud that you've come through that, you know, and now we can sit here and they know, you know, and I purposely now, when I walk through the door, it could be like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning, right? And I've come from a gig or something, and I'll walk in and my dad's just woken up to go to the bathroom. I'll go right up close to him and give him a hug and say, good, Dad, you all right? So he can smell me. And I'm doing it so he can smell that I don't smell of cigarettes and I don't smell of alcohol. Do you know what I'm saying? So it gives him that reassurance that, yeah, is he still doing it? Is he still trying to have a little cheeky one? Is he trying to pull the wool over our eyes? And that's just me reassuring him without saying a word. But because they're not stupid, right? They know, they can smell it. Like, you know, when we were younger, and for those of you that have smoked, you think that your parents aren't going to smell it because you've had a bit of gum and you've washed your hands and you've put a bit of deodorant on. Man, you still stink of fags, right? You still stink. When you walk through that door, it lingers in with you. And they know you're smoking. But they might not mention it because they think, no, I don't want to admit that my son's doing that. And we don't admit it to our parents because it's a respect thing, right? And that's our culture. But you know, when you've come through it and you can sit down and say, yeah, Dad, I don't drink, I don't smoke, and you say it with confidence, they're proud of you, man. They're proud of you because, you know, it's a culture that we come from that it's not really acceptable. Smoking is not acceptable in Punjabi culture, you know? So, you know, for them to see you go through stuff and have your ups and downs, they'll always be very proud of you with whatever you do, you know, whether it's working or going through whatever you've been through in life. But, you know, I think no matter, as long as you put 110% into whatever you do, they'll always be proud of you, man.
100. And just before I move on from that point is you yourself have been a big part of that, the new stars that are here today, because you've changed that belief system that Asian people can get on the mic and rock it. You don't have to be the best singer, as you said, but your performance, your you know, your unique ability to come on that stage and dance and move is probably inspired the next generation already to say, I can do that, which is some of these people on stages right now, they probably listen to music. I know I definitely was listening to your music in college, etc. So big respect to you, my bro.
No worries, man. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
So Juggy, the big one comes. Dance With You 2003.
Yeah, man.
Talk to me about it, bro.
Oh man, Dance With You, what a journey and what a track. That was to be part of, man. I can look back and only say, you know what, I was so so happy to be part of that song because that song created a movement. It was not, we didn't plan to make a band or have a, you know, a trio. We were all individualized. I'd already been, you know, I'd already stepped into the industry with Naijeena and the Craig David track. So I was already in the scene, you know. Jay had just started working with Rishi. He'd got his demo in front of Rishi. Rishi had been working with him. And in my first song, Naijeena, Jay was in there. He was in the background.
Okay.
He'd come down to our shoot and you could call him an extra if you want. Because
Jay Sean was your extra.
Yeah, he didn't know because he hadn't released anything then. He was part of a group, but they were unknown. They were like kind of that underground kind of vibe. And nobody knew who he was. So he had just started working with Rishi and Rishi invited him down to my video shoot. So we all got to meet him there. But like I said, nobody knew who he was. And he went by the name of, I can't remember what his other name was in his group, but his name was Kamaljeet Duty. right? And it was Nicky J. That's what he
Nicky
went by.
J,
He was like,
okay.
"No, this is Nicky." And so yeah, he was at the shoot. And then shortly after that, the song came out. Me and Rishi had been working together, and then one day I got a call from Rish, and he's like, "Jugs, where are you? What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, nothing. I'm at home." And he's like, "Okay." He goes, "Remember I told you about that guy? He came to your shoot, Nicky." And I was like, "Oh yeah." He goes, I've just been working with him on some stuff. I want you to come down and have a listen." I was like, "Okay." He goes, "Come down." And I was like, "All right, cool." I said, I'll pop down in a bit." So I drove down to the studio, and they were all there. Manager that had signed Rishi as a producer, called Rob. That was 2.9, but 2.9 didn't exist then. That was just Rob, right?
Okay.
And there was a guy called Billy. But in the studio was Rob, Rishi, and as we know him now, Jay. All in the studio. He starts playing this record. And I'm listening to it, and I'm standing by the door, and I'm just nodding my head, and I'm like, "Yeah, man, this is a vibe. It's a vibe." I'm listening to it, and his hook comes on. "I just want to dance with you," and I'm standing there, and all of a sudden, I've heard it a few times, and I went, "Oh, main to teri naal nachna," and they all just stopped and went, "What was that?" And I went, "What?" They said, "What did you just say there?" I said what he said in English, in Punjabi, and they went, "Mate, that sounded sick." The manager was like, "Okay, hold on a minute. This is we're onto something here." Because I was just there to just have a listen, just generally. There was nothing more to happen. It was just me hearing their new record.
Mhm.
That was it. And then it was like, okay, hold on a minute. We're trying to break. So they were a record label looking for a ethnic producer to break into the mainstream. That was their mission, right? Sorry, that was their mission. So they signed Rishi, and then when Rishi got signed to them as a producer, they were looking for an artist. So that was then Jay. So they were now looking at what they can get from him to put out as a single or potentially sign him, right? So he wasn't signed either yet. They were just working. He was just working with him. And then this was like the potential first single to get signed. So it was a whole process going on, and it was heading in that right direction. But it was a build up to it, right? And that was what happened at the time. And then it was like, "Well, Jugs, can you go in and record that? Can you put that down?" And I'm like, "Okay." So went in, put it down, put the hook down, and they went, "Yeah." And he put it in, and he went, "Yeah, this is sounding crazy." And he's like, "All right, listen, can you record a verse for me?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, all right, cool." So we chopped up this verse, wrote it out, and put the verse down. And he was like, "Man, this is a vibe." And the Gora, the manager, Rob, he was like, "Listen, this could be something actually here, because we're trying to break Indian artist into the mainstream. He's got his R&B vibe, but you've also brought your Indian culture. It's a fusion of the two. Perfect. This works for us." Like, all right, cool. So I was featured on that song. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know where it was going to go. Next thing we know, there's a video shoot happening, and it gets signed. The song gets signed, right? And it came out with Relentless. And it all happened so crazy, like everything that was happening. And I was standing at the back. The song's unfolding in the video shoot, and all these dancers and b-boys and b-girl and hip hop dancers and all that are doing their thing. And I said to Rishi, I said, "Listen," I said, "this got this Punjabi touch to it." I said, "There's no bhangra happening." He's like, "Can you dance?" And I went, "Yeah." He said, "You do it." And I went, "All right then." So I walked out and I started doing my moves and all that. And that's where part of the Juggy D dance started from. And that was it. That song was made like off chance. It wasn't planned. It was just made organically on the off chance that if I was not at home that day and I was out of town, would have never have happened. So
Wow.
that shaped all three of our careers.
How did you have the confidence to just get up in there and dancing like everyone's choreographed and shooting this video, and you just
Well, it
jumped
was
in?
freestyle. That, I guess, was part of it as well, because everyone was just freestyling.
Okay.
There was no choreography.
Right.
It was like a street vibe,
Yeah.
and it was very, very chilled. It was in Feltham, this pedestrianised area in front of a shop front, and that's why it was like I was like a little bit hesitant first, because I was like, these are all professional dancers. I'm just this kid from Southall that does Bhangra at weddings, right? So, and I was like, I don't know whether I should or whether I shouldn't. And he was like, "No, go on, you do it. And he just gave me a bit of encouragement. And yeah, next thing you know, I'm busting some shapes, some Bhangra shapes in the video, and that was it. That was the rest was history, man. And Dance with You at number 12 in the national charts.
Come on.
And then we were on top of the pops.
How did that feel?
Unbelievable. That was the mum, look, we made it. So that is the process of me saying when you get on TV, that's you made it to go further. That's like, okay, now we've put our foot down and we've made a mark in the industry now. Anything we did before that was like, okay, yeah, it's cool. But now we're on top of the pops. Right now we can go, okay, more music, more tours, more this, more that. People are now going to start recognizing and going, okay, we want to see these guys here. Right, we need to book them for this. And that's when things start happening. Do you know what I'm saying? So,
did you start getting recognized more after that?
Yeah, of course,
How did that
man.
feel?
It was mad. And not just by Indians, black kids, white kids, like everyone. And it was insane, man. Like walking down the street and going, oh, you're that guy from that video. And I'm like, yeah, can I get a picture? And it was like, when it first was happening, it was like, wow, this is mad. Like, we're famous. Like, people know us, right? And it was so funny because, thanks. Oh my God, I have to laugh at this. Some days when we were younger, me and Jay used to sit in the car and we'd be driving home from the studio. And it was like, oh, should we go down the Broadway to soak up some love? Let's see how many people recognize us.
Oh, wow.
We used to do that. And we used to sit there and we used to go, do you think Dre and Eminem and Jay-Z lot did this when they were coming up and they were getting recognized? I'm like, they must have though, right? Because imagine, like, you're in the limelight, you've just become a little bit popular at something you're doing and you're on a big screen and people are recognizing you. You're gonna go and soak that up a bit. It's natural to do that, right? So yeah, we used to have some fun with it, man. It was crazy. It was some really, really, really good times, man. Really good times.
What's Jay Sean like?
He's cool, man. He's cool. He's you know, everybody has their okay, so with the three of us, I was a very social guy, right? Rishi was very reserved, and Jay was, he's the unapproachable one. That's how people painted the picture of all of us. They were like, oh, he's very unapproachable. He's got a bit of a big ego, right? And that's how everybody looked at us. Like, that's you. And it wasn't like that though, because you just had to get to know him a bit more. You know, he is, you know, now all these years on, we just do our own thing. Everyone's doing their own thing. Jay does his thing. I do my thing. Rishi does his thing. We've all got our own, you know, foot in and stand in our industry as individuals. We went from individuals to together for 5-6 years, and then we went off and we are our own people again. You know, there's Juggy D is Juggy D in his own right, Jay Sean in his own right, and Rishi Rich in his own right. But when on the odd occasion, every so often, every few years or 5 years, whatever, we do a record together, it's something special. You know, so yeah, it's nice, and people enjoy listening to it, and they wait for it. You know, don't know when there's going to be another one, but
that'd be fire, man. Look, I wanna play a little game with you right now. So, being that you told me that you heard Jay was singing, I just want to dance with you, and you made it into Punjabi. We're gonna go through 10 songs right now. Yeah, just a little chorus bit.
Yeah.
And you're gonna sing it in Punjabi.
Okay.
Yeah. And let's see if you never know.
I never know. We might get a feature on someone.
Okay. So this one, "Shape of You" by Ed Sheeran. I'm in love with the shape of you. Come on, you're the Punjabi one, bro. You can pass if you want.
No, so Tere jism di tauba tauba, tere jism di tauba tauba, and that's from the song now as well. Tauba tauba, but that's what it means, isn't it? Your jism is your body.
Yeah.
I'm in love with the shape of you, so yeah, tere jism di tauba tauba. There you go.
Nice.
That's the translation in Punjabi.
I don't know if I'm gonna get this right. "Rolling in the Deep," Adele.
What's the?
I don't even know how I can bloody sing this now. We could We could have had it all. Rolling in the deep. Rolling in the deep.
Okay, pass.
Okay, forget that
Yeah,
one.
forget that.
Okay, Blinding Lights by The Weeknd. I said, oh, I'm blinded by the lights.
That's quite easy actually. ਲਾਈਟਾਂ ਨੇ ਮੇਰੀ ਲਾਈਟਾਂ ਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਅੰਨਾ ਕਰਤਾ.
Okay, next one.
I'm just doing direct translations
That's fine.
now.
That's fine.
I'm not even going to
You
sing.
never
I'm just
know.
going to direct translation.
One of them might vibe. You just never know that moment.
Well, the gist of the Toba Toba was a good one.
That was, I like that.
I think that was a good one.
I think you should make a song of that. Can't Stop the Feeling, Justin Timberlake. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. ਅੱਜ ਧੁੱਪ ਨਿਕਲੀ ਆ ਤੇ ਐਂਕਾਂ ਲਾਈਆਂ ਮੇਰੀਆਂ. I've changed it from feet to sunglasses, but anyway, I'm clearly not good at this. Next one, Uptown Funk by Mark Ronson.
Oh, that's one of my favorite songs.
Don't believe me, just watch.
Okay. मेरी गल्ला ना सुनो, बस देखी जाओ.
That was good, bro.
मेरी गल्ला ना सुनो, मैंने देखी जाओ. Yeah.
I think you could put a little beat behind that. All of Me, John Legend. 'Cause all of me loves all of you.
मैं तेनू बहुत प्यार करदा. सारे दिल नाल तेनू प्यार करदा.
All right. Happy by Pharrell Williams. Because I'm happy, clap along like a room without a roof.
आज मैं खुश ਆਂ मारो ताड़ियां. आज मैं खुश ਆਂ, let's मारो ताड़ियां. There you go. That's enough. Let's move on now.
One more. Let's do one more.
You're enjoying this more than me?
Yeah. Okay, Shape of My Heart by Backstreet Boys. Looking back on the things that I have done, I was trying to be someone.
Looking back at the thing. I'm going to pass on that one.
All right, cool. Well, big hand for that. I did like the first one though.
The first one was.
I think you should think about it, bro. Okay, so let's do a little bit of a rundown with some of your music. So you did Sohniye in 2004, featuring Rishi. Any funny stories behind any of these?
This is loads of stories, man. Sohniye. No, Sohniye was with Mentor. A lot of people think that Rishi produced Sohniye, but it wasn't. It was Mentor that produced Sohniye.
Okay, even Wikipedia thought it was Rishi.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, no, it was Mentor that produced. So Rishi produced Naijeena, and he produced all the majority of the features that I did was produced by Rishi, and there was a few that I did features with Mentor. But yeah, the album, my first solo album, which came out in 2004, self-titled Juggy D, was heavily produced by Mentor.
Yeah. Next one, Billo.
Billo was Billo was
that was quite desi.
Yeah,
with a little tumbi in there.
Billo kar la bilori akha samne jat tenu labda fere. That was a very desi one, but production very up tempo, very hype. Always dance floor banger goes off. Even yesterday, I mean, over the weekend, the weddings that I was doing, what I've started doing now is I tailor the song. I switch up the lyrics. So the song's name is Billo, but yesterday the bride's name was Babita.
Okay.
And the groom's name was Pavan. So I changed the lyrics for them on the day. So instead of calling the song, and I turn it into like a little skit, so it's interaction with the crowd and the bride and groom. So the brides. So I said basically that my song, the next track I'm going to perform is Billo, but today I'm going to call it Babita, and it goes Babita karla bilori akha samane ni pavan tenu labda fire, and then the track drops, and then that's what we do throughout the song. We put their names in it, so it gives them that personal touch, and that song now becomes part of them. You know what I mean?
It's beautiful,
so,
man.
Yeah, man.
You,
So it's
you
a little
bring the
vibe.
crowd in. It
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
it
yeah.
relatable.
Absolutely, man. That's what it's about. That's what it's about.
Kolaja.
Gold Arja. Oh, that was a sick track, man.
And
That
you-
was a vibe. That was with featured Jin from
Jin.
Rough Riders, man.
Yes.
Chinese rapper, bad boy.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a sick collab, man, because he was big that time as well.
Yeah.
And to get that collab, and then he flew down. He came down. We were in the video together, and we did an anime. That was one of the first animated videos ever to be made on green screen. And I was in India Taxi. He was in the back, and I was driving an India Taxi, and that was done on green screen. And at the end, there was a beetle in there, a blue beetle. That was actually my beetle, but we used the animated version of it. I used to have I only just got rid of it recently. I had a 1969 VW Beetle, fully restored, but it'd seen better days, so I had to get rid of it. I just didn't have the time or patience to kind of restore it anymore. So
Do you like classic cars?
I love classic cars, man.
What's your favorite right now?
My favorite right now, which I would love to buy, is a Mustang, an old school Mustang though, not the new ones. I think the new ones are pants.
Yeah, the Ford ones.
Yeah, they're rubbish. But the old Ford Mustang, they're like a 1960s one. You know, beautiful, man, beautiful cars. That raw, proper. That's a proper American muscle. That that V12
100.
beast. Yeah, man. I love
what's a real favorite of mine right now? The E30 2.5i.
Okay, BMW, right.
The two-door.
I've never
version.
really been into BMWs. Never been a big fan of them. I like the look of them, but I've never been a big fan. I've never owned a BMW.
Yeah.
I've always been.
That's our dad's, isn't it?
Yeah,
You're gonna get stopped.
I don't know, man. I just never was in it. My first ever car, I was more into Fords, like classics. My first car was a Mark 1 Escort.
Oh,
Mark 1 Escort, 1974, 1300E. I had the Recaro fishnet headrest, bucket seats, all the wood paneling, real wood, not this plastic painted stuff. You know what I mean? Like proper. It was, man.
They're worth money now as well.
Yeah, I wish I'd kept out, but those are different times of your, your journey and that. But that was my first car many years ago.
100. So you done a collab with DCS as well, Shin, right?
Yes, love Shin.
John Media.
Yeah. That was a really nice collab. Buddy rang me and asked me to feature on a song with him, and that was I was so overwhelmed by that because I grew up listening to him, and for somebody that you've looked up to call you and ask you to be on one of their songs, that was like another yes.
Pinch me moment.
Yeah, man. This is unbelievable that somebody of his vocal ability, position in the industry, and his everything about him, his talent, his stage presence, his band was, I was in awe of it. I grew up listening to them. I used to go to weddings when I was a kid, and we'd ask our parents who's the band? Find out who the band is, because if it was an unheard of band, we wouldn't go, because I love dancing, right? So from a young age, and if it was a good band, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to this wedding, just purely because I just want to enjoy the band and listen to live music. And DCS was up there, man, as one of my favorites. My favorite when I was growing up was Sahotas.
Yeah,
I love the Sahotas, and I think Sahotas was one of those. I describe them as Marmite. You either love them or you hate them. There was no middle ground. It was not like, oh yeah, they're all right. Nah, it's either you love them or you hate them. And I loved them. I thought they were wicked, man. Sahotas were wicked. But Shin Buddy, absolutely love you. He's amazing. And he's got a new song out. He's got a new song coming out with Veronica, my sister, from Humdum, which is a monster track. Still big today. Still goes down on the dance floors. I still perform it. And make sure you go check out her socials for the release date. It's coming out real soon.
Come on. How do you work with so many different artists? Like everyone has a different vibe, different energy, something different they bring.
Yeah.
Jay's got his sort of rapping sort of style, or you know, a different style. So as sort of Rishi, and you know, like how do you have the ability to work with so many different artists?
I don't know, guys. How do we answer that? Um, it's just like, you got to pick the right ones. I guess sometimes it's like there's certain collaborations which don't even make sense, and excuse me, they're not going to work. Like you're just too far apart. You're too different, right? And a lot of it is about chemistry. You got to click and you got to vibe. You got to enjoy their music to start with to even want to think about doing a collaboration. So the ones that we have done, they've been done because there was a reason behind it. But then going back, like say 15, 16 years ago, when those other collabs came in, we didn't know if we were going to get selected. We just had to do our best, and if they liked it, they picked it. Fortunately, everyone that we got offered got picked. So I was on so many of them, man. I was, like I said earlier, Missy Elliott. That one was with Missy Elliott, Timbaland, Magoo. Magoo passed away not so long ago. But that song, all of those songs, they've just had their 20-year anniversaries.
Wow.
The Missy Elliott and Madonna, that was Me Against the Music. And I was featured on that. Those were just mad moments, man. All pinch me moments again, man. We're like, what the hell? Just to see your name in the credits. Britney Spears, Madonna, featuring Rishi Rich and Juggy D. It's like, what? What?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like, how did that happen? That's mad. It's mad.
100. Absolutely. There's two songs that you get a little bit muddled up with, isn't it? There's two songs that you sing that the lyrics are very similar.
Yeah, Naijeena and Dance With You.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I get, and that's what happened when I was recording, because we picked up. So we did Naijeena. Naijeena was a hit, right?
Yeah.
It was like #1 6 weeks when it first came out. Everyone was like, "Who is this kid? Where's he come from? Like, is he from a musical family?" And I wasn't. I was just some kid from Southall who enjoyed music and sang in the park with his mates and at clubs and pubs, and I was in nightclubs before I should have legally been in there, but I was in there because I was performing, so I was allowed to go. But yeah, man, I've lost my train of thought.
What's the lyrics you get muddled
Oh
up
yeah,
with?
so the lyrics were we went in the studio to do Dance With You, and what we did was, because Naijeena had already become a hit, we took the verse from that and we chopped around, played around with it, and changed the melody and a couple of lyrics and used that in Dance With You, and it worked. And not many people realized that it was the same and very similar to Naijeena. Practically the same. So it's now I'm going to probably get it wrong. So ਕੁੜੀ ਸੋਹਣੀ ਬੜੀ ਹਿਮਨ ਮੋਣੀ ਨਾ ਤੇਰੇ ਜਿਹੀ ਹੋਣੀ ਕਦੇ ਲਕੈਂਦਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਹੱਸਦੀ ਤਾਂ ਪਿੜ ਵਿੱਚ ਨੱਚਦੀ ਨਾ ਗੱਲ ਮੇਰੇ ਵੱਸਦੀ ਤਾਂ ਦਿਲ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਉਹ ਤੇਰੇ ਬਿਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਜੀਣਾ. So that's Naijeena.
Yeah.
And then Dance With You is ਕੁੜੀ ਸੋਹਣੀ ਤੇ ਅੱਖ ਮਸਤਾਨੀ ਤੂੰ ਗਿੱਧਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਰਾਣੀ ਇੰਨੀ ਗੱਲ ਸੁਣ ਜਾ ਤੂੰ ਦਿਲ ਖੋਲਿਆ ਤੇ ਮੇਰਾ ਮਨ ਮੋਲਿਆ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਗੱਲ ਹੋ ਰਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਸੁਣ ਜਾ ਉਹ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਤੇਰੀ ਨਾਲ ਨੱਚਣਾ. Very similar. Very similar. So easy to mess up. And I'm actually quite surprised that I got both of them correct there. But
I don't know if you visually saw anything, but on when you sang it the first time, you did a different sort of like thing with your hand, and the other one do you do certain things to remember
man.
lyrics?
That's just, I don't know. Maybe I do subconsciously, but no, that was just me counting the beats.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just me.
Come on.
Yeah.
So you did quite a few tracks here, from 2002, 2004, 2006, 2007, and then I think there was a little gap till 2014.
Yeah. So we did loads of music up until, and I think that's when the three of us stopped making music together with 2.9, and that's when things started going different ways, because Jay got signed to Jay went to America. He got signed to Cash Money. Rishi was doing more stuff with India. I was doing more stuff in India, and that's it. Just different stages of your life, of your career. Experimenting with different things, and that's everybody had a big gap then. And then my next release after that was 2012
Mhm.
when I did the album Punjabi Rockstar.
So what did you do in between that time?
Just loads of gigs.
Okay.
And we had enough material
Yeah.
to just keep going for long enough to not even have to put music out.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was like literally back to back. Like I've been going to India for the last 20 years, 22 years, in fact. We stepped out there. No, 2003. After Dance With You came out, we started performing internationally.
Hmm.
And I think now, yeah, it's been 21 years. I've been going to India every single year for the season. And I'm one of very few Punjabi artists that goes out there to do shows.
What's the difference between performing here in the UK and in India?
India is different level. Bigger production, bigger show, bigger crowds, bigger money. Much bigger money. It's different ball game, man. Different ball game.
How did the crowd react to you differently in terms of the UK crowd and the Indian crowd?
In Punjabi, we say Jameen Asman da fark.
Really?
Yes. And that means
is heaven
it's
and earth.
Heaven and earth. It's like heaven and earth. Over in India, their level of respect for me as an artist there is like heaven and earth.
Wow.
Here, people different here.
Yeah.
People are different here. Like, you know, like some of these, like even new singers, they've got one or two songs. Sometimes they won't even come and say hello to you
Wow.
because they've got an ego. They got a chip on their shoulder that, yeah, I'm this new kid, and oh yeah, you lot are you lot are the old schoolers.
Really?
Yeah, like
Wow.
some people are like that. I'm not gonna mention no names, but I've seen that. I've seen that, and I think, okay, fine, fair play, man. You carry on. You know, let's see if you're still around in 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, you're doing it now. You're on your high right now. You've
Yeah.
got one record out, but mate, you're only as good as your last record, mate.
Yeah.
You might have one record, two records. Your third one is a flop, mate. You're gone.
Wow.
Because this industry is so cutthroat, and nowadays it's even more, bro. It's even more difficult because some people now, their songs are bigger than them
Mm.
because of the internet and Spotify and all the digital world. Like, you know, like back in our day, it was like they wanted to see us. They wanted to see because they bought into the artist.
Mhm.
You'd go and you'd get the CD and the tape and you'd open it and you'd see the pictures and read the inlay story. I remember writing a story about how I felt about releasing this album.
Wow.
You don't see that now. You don't get to read into what the artist is about, where he's come from, and what this means to him.
But there's no emotional attachment.
There's no emotional attachment with no artist that, like the ones that I mean, all right, unless they have gone super big,
Yeah.
right? That's different. Like people like AP and they become like phenomenons. You know what I mean? They're on a different level. But like if you've just got like one record out and it's done okay, and you've got an ego from it, you need to watch that. You know, you need to watch that because you need to check yourself because, you know, tomorrow somebody else will come in and replace you in a second if they get a bigger record than yours. You know, and I think that plays a big part in longevity. You know, when people's ego takes over, they think they're all that and everything. You know, they will the ones that will realize that, you know what, you need to build and you need to keep your head down and you need to be humble in this industry and you know, like connect with people like on a vibe, on a nice genuine vibe. You know what I mean? Because people will connect with people that they like. That's what it's come down to now. If they don't like you, they're gonna say, I don't care what your song's like. You're you know,
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z. And that's what's happened to a lot of people in the industry, man.
What do you think of what did you think of Sidhu Moose Wala?
Sidhu was like a little brother, man. Yeah, Sidhu was wicked, man. And I'm not gonna lie, at the beginning, I wasn't really into his stuff because I've never really been into Punjabi rap. So I've never really been a fan of it. But as time went on, I did start liking some of his stuff. And I'm not talking about liking his stuff after he passed away. I'm talking, I actually started liking it before because there was a lot of people that didn't like him all the way through. But when he passed away, they were, oh yeah, Sidhu. And I'm like, whatever.
What does go on behind the scenes in terms of like, a lot of people said that he had a lot of haters. There was other music artists in India who, used to hate it with them when his tracks used to come out, and then there was so much competition, which I couldn't understand. It's like I thought, isn't it about he's one of like your work colleagues almost, like behind the scenes, like he's got a good song on, he's doing something good, he's putting more spotlights into the industry. If I bring
No, it's
something out,
you know what? Look, each individual artist has their own, you know, their own vibe, and it's about them, right? It's about them, and it's yes, we're putting stuff out into the industry, but they're focused on themselves. But it's how you put yourself out there. This is what I'm saying. It's like stay humble, right? You can focus on yourself and work on yourself and put yourself out there, but you got to remain humble doing it, because that's when people will connect with you, right? If you work on yourself, put yourself out there, and you come with that ego and say it's just all about me, I'm the man, I'm this, I'm that, they'll be like, yeah, all right, mate. You know what I mean? And I think that's why people didn't like him so much as well. Like sometimes that he came across a little bit like that, but he was a very humble guy at the same time. But when he stepped on stage, he did become that. He had this persona of I am the man.
Where do you draw that line? Because I was
Look, that was his vibe. That was his vibe. That was his style, right? And you had to respect it to a certain extent. He is, and I guess it maybe came from the fact that he's been around people that have had that vibe. So he's had to come out like that as well. Do you know? So you can't knock him for it. You've just got to go, well, you know what? That was him. And people respected him for that. They said, you know what? He's real. He's keeping it real in his own way, because he's been surrounded by artists that he's seen doing that as well. And now he's stepped in and his songs are getting bigger. They're all hating on him. But you know what? If you got haters, that means you're doing something right. You don't get haters unless you're doing something right.
After that happened, did it not make you a little bit afraid because you perform in India that somebody could just openly spray some bullets at you?
No, not at all. I mean, my industry is different. I'm not in the rap scene. I'm not, and I've been doing this for so long now, and I've always navigated away from any hatred or any, like, I'm not that guy. You get me? I'm not in the rap scene. I don't come across as like a gangster and that. I've got friends that are gangsters, but we chill and we like, they're like, Juggy, you're good, man. No one gonna touch you. You get me? You're cool. You're good. And that's okay. That. I'm good with that. I've got my people, and I'm cool. And I just do my thing. I don't put myself out there in a certain way. I just connect with everybody. I treat people with respect. I treat people the way I want to be treated.
Yeah.
If you give me shit, I'll give it back to you. Simple as that. And if you treat me nice, if I treat you nice, I'd expect you to be nice to me. Right? It's quite simple, isn't it? And that's what I've done, and that's why I've built really nice relationships with everybody in India. With all the promoters, and that's why I'm still getting booked today.
Are you allowed to share what sort of bracket that you get paid for performances out in India?
In India, we do charge considerably more than what we do here. So everybody in India is in brackets of, like, there's mad money being made in India, right? I'll give you an example. People like Badshah and stuff like that are charging like 100 grand a show.
Wow.
Yeah, a 1 crore plus.
Wow.
Then you've got people that have been around, and these are like, they're on the top of the game right now. And then you've got people charging 40, 50. We come under 15, 20, and it's good. I'm happy with that, right? If I had come out now as Rishi Rich Project or as Juggy D right now, and I was at the top of my game, I could probably be charging 70, 80, maybe even 100, maybe more than 100.
Wow.
But for being in the industry for 20 plus years and making like 15 to 20,000 a show in India, that's very, very good money. We might not always close at that, but that's what we go out at. Yeah. And that's good money, So, I'm blessed. I'm happy, but money's not everything. I've blown a lot of money over the years. I've been, like I said, ups and downs, and I've now come to a point in my life where I'm comfortable. And I want out of life things that money can't buy. And that is peace, love, and happiness. Money can't buy that.
What's been your biggest purchase?
I've got all the nice things that I want. I got nice watches. I can't wear them now. London, I put them away. But when I go to a show and I'm with my security, or if I'm in Delhi, or if I'm in Dubai, then I'll take them with me and I'll wear my nice things. I have property. I have nice car. not lots of it, but enough to give to my kids, give something, leave something to them.
Yeah.
And I'm always still doing stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the rehab center now. That's a business.
Yeah.
We're doing some for charity. But like I said, it's not just all about the money for me. It's about building something, building a legacy, having something to give to your kids. You know, it doesn't have to be millions, but just enough to give them a good start in life. And I'm still working on that. You know, well, you never stop working, right? You consistently are going to keep building. So the more I do now is the more I can leave for my children when the time comes. But I'm happy. That's the main thing, you know. I'm happy. So that's what is more important to me, man. Is just having peace and having freedom. Freedom of being able to pick and choose what I do things if I get paid enough to do it, and not doing it if I don't want to do it. And that's a nice place to be in, I guess, man.
100.
You know what I mean?
Juggy, one of your kids come running up to you and say, "Daddy, I want to be a singer now. I'm
Yeah.
going into
Yeah.
the Lion's Den. I'm doing it."
Yeah.
What advice are you giving
Yeah,
to your
we do
child?
that. Absolutely. Let's do it. Let's go for it. Let's go for it. I tell them that all the time. Every single one of my kids, I say to them all the time, I said, anything you want to do, let me know. Because you have to let them flourish in what they want to do. You don't know what they're going to be good at, right? But it's got to come from them. I can't say to them, I want you to do this, I want you to do that, I want you to do that. That's a very, you know, you can start with kids. You know, we've seen certain documentaries like the Williams sisters, their father from a
Brilliant.
very young age. Great documentary,
Yeah.
but he was,
On it.
no, you are not doing nothing else. You are doing this, but look at the reward,
Yeah.
right? So there's that way of doing things.
Yeah.
Are
you like that?
I didn't do it that way, no. I just let my kids be kids when they were growing up. I was enjoying life with them. And I've just kind of, I have not done that with any of my kids, that I put them into something. And then sometimes I look at it and think, maybe I should have. Maybe I should have. But then it's like, I love kids and I wanted not just one or two. We've got three, right? And it's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of hard work dedicating that time to one child. Then you've got three to do, and then you've also got to work and provide.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's hard. And so I take my hat off to people that have been able to do that, you know, and have that balance where, you know, your partner is looking after one thing and you're doing, but really, do you have much time to yourselves? Probably not, right? So that's a big dedication, a big commitment. And then, but the reward is great. But look how many years later it comes, you know? I didn't do it that way. I've done it my way. And, you know, my kids are happy. And I say to them, look, you know, whatever you want to do, you let me know. And we'll push you. We'll push you to do it. You know, and if you're good at it and you want to carry it on, then we'll support you. And that's how I've done stuff with my kids, you know? So yeah, they're happy. They're doing what they want to do, the way they want to do it. And they're still young. They're 12, 10 and 5, you know? So you don't know where they're going to go. And we used to have those conversations. What do you want to have? My son said, what do you want to be when you grow up? I said, Daddy, I want to be a footballer. And he says, I'm going to be a footballer. I'm going to be a singer. And, you know, I say, yes. All right, let's do it. You know? So he goes football. He's in a club. And
Brilliant.
so, yeah, man.
How does Bollywood cross over to what you do in Bhangra? You know, because you've done a few things for Bollywood, like as you said, like Hum Tum. Like, it does Bhangra you lose its authenticity crossing over to Bollywood and Hindi and you know that sort of genre?
You know what it is? Again, when you get asked to do something for Bollywood, you've got to have a certain sound that they've come to you for a certain sound, right? So you just got to be real and keep it real to, like, we were very, our management were very straight up from the get-go that, listen, they're not doing nothing cheesy. We're keeping it very cool. We're going to do it our way, and this is how it's going to be done. So we were quite fortunate that we had a lot of control over it. Whereas sometimes, you know, they pick up a song and they change it and they ruin it, you know, and the song gets ruined. Like, what was it? Just recently I heard one of Diljit's songs has just come back in a film. And I don't like it, to be honest. But I love his original version.
Yeah.
And the version that they put in the film is not
Hmm.
They didn't do justice to it.
Didn't somebody use your song, like in Disney or something?
A few people have. Diljit used one of my songs.
Okay.
He used the hook line off Naijeena.
Okay.
Yeah, they used the hook line off Naijeena. Yeah.
Did you have to pull him up?
We did. I did have to put a call in, yeah, just to find out who. Because, see, look, I don't have an issue with anybody using my song, but this has to be done in the right way.
Yeah.
And you have to get things cleared, and you have to get them licensed, and you have to pay the right people, and and that's the business side of things. So I had to call him and just find out what had been done, and then it did get corrected. So my credit was given to me because they weren't. Some people weren't aware that it was done by us first, and somebody else claimed that they owned the rights and what have you. But that all got sorted. So, but a nice gesture still.
Is it a
You look at
compliment?
it and like it's a compliment. They've used my song. They've used it because it was good, right? So yeah. And then there was another one. Naijeena was also done in Swahili, and that was when it first came out. They did a Swahili version of it, and them days it was like, yeah, it was just called for, and we just let it go.
Yeah.
No one even said anything, and it was on YouTube, and yeah, that was also done. And then Sohniye was used in a film. They used did some kind of, and my management dealt with it. I don't even actually know what happened with that one, but I think they sorted that out. But yeah, a few of them have been used like that. But yeah, again, back in the day when you look at it, you're like, yeah, well, that's a compliment, man. We're doing something good that people are wanting to copy our style.
100. So what does the future bring for Juggy D? What's your next goals, aspirations? What can we expect from you?
So I've got loads of new music coming out. I've got my own YouTube channel, Juggy D TV. So I've put everything. I own all my music now. So everything that comes out is all mine. My production, my money that I'm putting into it. No labels involved. And then I've got the rehab center, my sobriety journey. I'm working on a podcast as well. So yeah, so just lots of stuff, and then my kids. So just making sure that they're happy. You know what I mean? So
Come on.
that's the
Well,
vibe, man.
there's still so much to go into, but we don't have enough time. At
No
some
worries, man.
stage, we might have a part two some stage, talk
Absolutely,
about
no
where
problem,
you're
man.
at. Is there one final message that you'd like to give to the audience at home?
Yeah, I guess. Do you know what? What I would say to people that are watching is, don't worry about what people think about you ever in life. Worry about what you're doing. Make sure you do it to the best of your ability, and just focus on the things that are within your control. Don't worry about things that you can't control. That's it.
Juggy, what's the best place for people to follow you on?
So I'm on Instagram, the real Juggy D on Instagram. I'm the real Juggy D on Snapchat. I don't really use that much. But yeah, Instagram is the main one. But also my website. Check out my website for the rehab center, which is Hope Rehabs, because I know a lot of people are going through things in silence. So, if I can be of help, or if I can point you in the right direction, or I can make some suggestions to you like was suggested to me to help you out, then do get in touch. Hit me up on my DMs, man.
And there you go, guys. I hope you really enjoyed that episode. We went deep into the mind of somebody who's been a, music artist for the last 2 decades and telling us how he done it, the things we saw on TV, the stories behind it. So if that inspired you, don't forget to share this with somebody else who might need to hear it. And before you leave, make sure you smash that subscribe button. So until next time, see you later. Peace.